Just before the game, they honored him with his ball for his 800th victory. So Coach Fenley, the best to do it.
And then he made it 801 on Monday with that 85-36 victory over St. Thomas. Krooks wins the opening tap. The Cyclones dressed in white. And there is the new point guard, Jada Williams, the transfer from Arizona. She's got everybody excited, doesn't she?
Yep, and you can see why. I mean, just aggressive right off of the tip, looking to score. She's a score-first point guard mentality, which is a great mentality to have.
Jaguars had Tate going into the paint. Tate did not start against Iowa the other night, came off the bench. There's the turnaround by Hurston. Williams bringing the ball up. Led Arizona in scoring last year, averaged almost 13 points a ball game. Goes baseline to Krooks. Krooks gets her defender in the air, who misses, but she gets fouled by Anaja. Improved free throw shooting.
Yeah, worked a lot in the offseason, really trying to improve on that part of her game. She says if she can do 10% better, that will be her goal.
Well, she was 68% last year, 66% the year before. She's 2 for 2 tonight and missed only one free throw in 7 tries on Monday against St. Thomas. Hurston to the baseline, banks it home.
Nice take there by Hurston. Looking to score. She's definitely got that scorer's mentality as well.
She started her career at DePaul, but came to Southern from Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, she really likes this Hilton environment, doesn't she, Larry?
She really does. And, of course, just getting to play in Hilton Coliseum.
Watch this crossover. That is nasty right there. And then follows it up with a nice, confident three, really in rhythm. I like how in rhythm she is. Not too sped up, really letting the game come to her.
9 points, 4 assists, and no turnovers for Williams in her Cyclone debut on Monday. At the free throw line is Jocelyn Tate, a sophomore from North Little Rock, Arkansas. Tate scores. And it's a 2-point Iowa State lead. When Southern played at Iowa for a quarter, it was tied. It was a 1-point game at the end of the first period. Krooks inside to score.
Nice move there by Audi. Anaja Hall is 6'5", so from a height perspective, she's definitely got that advantage, but Audi is just so tough when she gets it in that low block space.
Tate trying to get around the defensive Kenzie Hare.
Defensive schemes and defensive planning.
Yeah, Bill Finley says, I'm staying out of that one. Tate has hit all 3 of her free throws.
Cyclone fans getting out their programs for this first part of the year to understand and meet all these new players who have come to AMES, and boy, they are a very talented group.
Alicia Williams is also checked in. Nice shot by Reese Beaty. Reed now with the basketball. Southern last year, 21 victories, 15 losses, 15-3 in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. As we mentioned, they were the champs. There's a foul in the corner. One of the big factors in her deciding that she wanted to play a little bit closer to home.
There's so many capable players, and it'll be probably somebody's night every different night.
Delaney, a transfer from Florida A&M. And again, a lot of transfers on this ball club for Southern University. They're from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And they are a team that, again, in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, the defending champs. Williams takes it to the rack and scores.
That's a beautiful take.
Southern, like a lot of Southwestern Athletic Conference schools, plays a really rough schedule. And started out with 2 in the top 25.
Yeah, that's one heck of a road trip, playing Iowa and then coming over to play Iowa State. Those are tough teams to start off with.
No, but that loss to UCLA was preceded by a victory over UC San Diego in the first 4. That was the first team from their conference ever to win an NCAA tournament game.
They are a good team.
In fact, this is their 3rd straight visit to Hilton. Kiana Wilson wears number 23, transfer out of a community college. Florida Southwestern State comes into the lineup for the blue-clad Jaguars. Inside, it's Krooks, and Krooks gets fouled, and she will go to the line. Things that she's on the watch list for. Last year set single-season Cyclone records for points and field goals made.
What Audi does well is, she's number 1 on everyone's scouting report every week. But yet she steps up to that, and she performs at a level that's so high and so sustained, and that's very impressive for a player.
Inside 3 minutes in this first quarter. Hurston fakes over Brown and scores. Second basket tonight by Zaria Hurston.
Hurston really gets herself to the basket. Nice in rhythm shot.
Jada Williams with lots of moves. Pitches it off for Ariana Jackson. And the rebound is taken by Hurston. She does a lot of things well.
Yep, Iowa State just feels like they need to get one of those threes to drop here, Larry. But getting some good attempts, wanting to really focus on their defense, let their defense create some offense.
Hurston banks in a 2-pointer. She's got all 6 points from the field.
They are strong. I mean, they are here to prove a point.
Pull up by Williams. Bullseye. Knocks down.
Getting Iowa State on the scoreboard. Maybe making some of those jumpers because the three-pointer just isn't working at the moment for Iowa State. You get the feeling that if they get one to go, though, it will open up.
And Hurston matches her 8 with 8 for Southern.
Yeah, Hurston just picking up where she left off.
So they are really inexperienced with their top returning scorer not there. Dixon into the offensive end for the team from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Hurston pitches it off in the corner, finds an open teammate. The shot won't go. Krooks is going to get a rest now, and Elisa Williams, the transfer 2 years ago from LSU, comes in, of course, a year ago and averaged 3 points and almost 3 rebounds. Here at the free throw line, misfires. That's one thing that the Cyclones have not done especially well in the last couple of minutes, is hit their free throws. Game even at 14. Wilson gets it to...
You're starting to see Southern just be a little bit more aggressive on offense. I feel like the first few minutes, maybe more of a 5-out, maybe more cutting. Now they're just putting their head down and going to the basket and daring Iowa State to stop them.
Shot clock is at 13, now 12, and the first quarter clock at 23. And driving to the baseline. Only got to play 10 games last year. Got off to a great start. Averaged 8 points with that lingering hip injury that required the surgery. Southern winding down the clock. Looking for Hurston, no doubt. She's been their hottest performer thus far. Here's Tate with it. Tate will put up the shot. She'll leave it short. The rebound is taken by Addy Brown, and that's the way the first quarter comes to an end. In that meeting last year, by the way, Addy Brown had one of the better games of her career. She was just outstanding. She only missed one shot in that ball game.
Yep, Iowa State here. Let's see if they do something different on defense. Hurston's really been deadly. Hasn't missed a shot yet today.
Shot off the mark by Cunningham. The ball taken away by Reese Beaty. Beaty, 2 early fouls for Iowa State. Brown looks for Krooks. How many times are you going to say that this season, huh? Angelia Pollock, I should say, in that guard for the Cyclones. The transfer from Wofford, and she's going to see a lot of playing time this season. Offensive rebound, run done by Tate. Inside, the shot won't go by Porter. Porter, one of the few returning Jaguar players, didn't play a lot last year. Again, we'll repeat that when this team played in Iowa on Monday, it was a 1-point game at the end of a quarter. So Porter challenging Krooks and coming up empty. So far, it is Hurston with the only baskets for Southern as Audi Crooks puts down her 8th. Sydney Harris back in for Iowa State. Hit 3 threes the other day against St. John's. That's exactly what they put her in the game to do. So far, nobody's hit a 3 in this one. Cunningham played at Lindenwood the last couple of years, trying to get to Division I, and they got to Division I this past year and won 26 games.
It's really an unselfish player.
So it's Krooks and Brown and Williams on the court for Iowa State, along with Harris. And also there is Jackson. Here is Harris looking for 3 and hitting nothing but net.
Try to double Audi, and that leaves Sydney wide open.
Great hands on the come around. And
so watch this defensive player having to go down and try and double Audi Crooks. Sydney Harris just has the great timing.
That's the first 3 by either team in this game.
Oh, wow, that's surprising.
Southern 0 for 2 shooting the 3 ball, and the Cyclones now 1 out of 5. Jada Williams again from Kansas City, Missouri, and one of the reasons she wanted to transfer to a place that would be closer to home so her family could come out very often to see games, and that's only about a 4-hour at the most drive. And Harris has hit 2 in a row from 3-point range.
It just seems to be right when Iowa State needs it.
6-point run for Iowa State on those 2 threes by Harris. Their biggest run of the ball game. The shot by Tate rolls off, and Williams into the offensive end. Number 8, guarded by number 8, Michaela Cunningham. Krooks at the high post. Addy Brown looking to work. Nothing but net. 8 in a row scored by the Cyclones, and so Carlos Funch is calling a timeout for Southern University. Now let's see what they've cooked up after the timeout. They've got Tate leaving it wide to the right, and Cook's there for the rebound. Cyclones on an 8-0 run and trying to add to that. Brown finds an open Jackson. Jackson knocks down a 3.
Great skip pass there. Iowa State will need her to do that a lot this year.
No sooner do we point out nobody's hit a 3 than Iowa State's hit their last 3 tries. Going to the floor, trying to get down. Cunningham can't do it, and Iowa State comes up with it. Brown misfires for the first time from a 3 after hitting the first 2. Brown with a rebound on the Harris miss. So Iowa State on the possession, 13 on the shot clock. Ball goes inside to Brooks. Ball blocked the first time. Krooks tries to go back a second time, and she gets to the line. So far tonight, the shots she's gotten to her face, because obviously that's a game plan. You want to be aggressive against her.
And so people are going to throw kind of junk defense. Shot
clock down to 6. Porter feeds Cunningham. Cunningham on the drive, loses the basketball. And Everett's got knocked down, but she's okay. That's the 5th foul called against Southern in the quarter, so the Cyclones will be in the bonus for the final 4+ minutes. Wilson picks up her dribble. Brown looks for Krooks. Krooks makes a nice move to her right, turns to her right, and scores. A dozen points for Audi Crooks. Brown aggressive on the defense. The shot taken by Dixon. And that's the first 3 of the night for the Jaguars.
Is a slasher, a driver. She's got a tenacious first step. She's going to score. And just a little different style. Going to make some plays.
Brown makes the penetration, finds Krooks, and Krooks has got 14 points. Calling for it is Edwards. He takes it to the rack.
You know, Sydney Harris is doing a lot of little things really well. Doing a lot of those little things that you look for in a power forward.
That foul called on Porter, and that's her second foul, and a lot of fouls mounting against Southern University here in this quarter. Harris makes a fake. This time she will drive. Trying to defend her is Delaney, and Delaney's got the foul. Sydney Harris to the line, got her 7th point, where she started her career at Central Michigan, played a year at TCU. Cutting to the basket, that time Delaney, but Porter not able to get it to her. Puck's going to be called for the foul on the drive. And that shot rims in by Cunningham. Bench team, he said, you know, we've got to back up for Audi. We've got to back up for Addy. He said, we got to back up for Ariana. He said, this next group, that next 5, he said, I'm going to call them the 100-minute club. But he said, our success of the season will depend on how they perform.
Oh, what a dish inside. You want to get a stop and a chance to score here at the end of the first half.
They're going to have an opportunity. The shot put up won't go by Michaela Cunningham. We've reached halftime, and they open a 12-point lead in Kansas City as we start live action at Hilton Coliseum, where in non-conference games, Bill Fenley's record is 196 wins and 9 losses. So big task for Southern to try to come back in this one. But she did turn distributor with 7 assists in that first half.
And that's what great players do, right? I mean, the ball's not dropping for her, so what's she going to do? She's going to pass it to her teammates. And it's a great lesson for younger players.
First and back in, gets it to Janiah Hall, and it's Southern scoring first in the third quarter. Williams started that crossover, but getting in the way was Edwards. And the 3 ball.
Such an effective possession for Iowa State. Fake the ball inside to Krooks. The whole defense shifts, and that leaves a wide open Hare on the other side to knock down a 3-pointer.
Hare were her first basket on that 3-point shot. From the lane, the shot knocked down by Anjahal Hall, and they also lost another player, Damani Lagway. to a groin injury at Iowa State. Here's Krooks picking up where she left off in the paint. Played at Southern last year on their SWAC championship team. Ball comes to Porter in the lane, and Porter gets fouled. And so to the foul line, Demaya Porter. They have one of their rare home games for their next game, and it'll be next Tuesday at home in Baton Rouge against Tugalua College. Offensive rebound coming to Southern, but the Cyclones take it away. Here's Reese Beaty on the drive, pitching to Brown. Beaty, the freshman from Tennessee, looking for Krooks, and she didn't have enough air under that one, and it's intercepted by Porter.
That's the right look. Right look, trying to get it into Audi, just a little short on her pass.
She'll have lots more opportunities to get that done. And that time, Hurston shows she has range.
Yeah, and some of the fouling, I think early on in the season, players are still getting their legs under them. They've had a tough preseason. They've had a lot of lifting, a lot of running.
They'll call a lot more fouls in November and December than they will when the conference season starts.
Yes, sometimes those point of emphasis, they fade away as conference is underway.
They really do, don't they?
They choose not to bring someone down to guard Audi.
They allowed only 49 points a game when they got into conference play last year. So Carlos Funchess known for his defense. Again, you can't stop that one.
No, that's just she's catching the ball just way too low on the block. I don't know that they're going to double team her. Sounded like coach was worried about the three-point shots.
Cyclone's really blessed with great depth, aren't they, as Tate hits the free throw?
And execute their assignments. I mean, you saw Ariana Jackson go out.
Brown a crossover, gets to the baseline, gets open, and does not get the bounce. Takeaway, though, by Addy Brown.
Yeah, Addy Brown not happy with those shots that are just rimming out, barely.
And Beaty slices through to score. And she had the only baskets they scored in that first half. Off the baseline, count the basket by Justine Dixon.
Yeah, nice move by Dixon.
Out of Tombaugh Community College in Mississippi. Krooks is there to wrap up the rebound. That gives her a double-double. 22 points, and that was her 10th rebound. Left open, Jada Williams. That was her first basket since the first quarter, but she had 4 baskets in the first quarter. Twisting inside, misfiring on the first time, but then knocking it down the second time is Elijah Hall.
So just some touch fouls. They got to clean up a little bit.
Hare with her second foul, and Hall completes the three-point play after not scoring in the first half. She has 7 points here in the quarter.
You wondered if Southern was going to have someone else step up and help Hurston a little bit.
Southern really staying right with Iowa State in this third quarter, but the Cyclones blew it open in the second quarter. Chance at an and one for Jada Williams. Jada Williams goes to the line. And again, so much anticipation for Jada Williams that she's really living up to those expectations. Just over 3 minutes to go in this third quarter. Dixon on the drive. Now Porter with it. Porter trying to deal with Krooks. And the 3-second violation will give Iowa State the ball.
That's a better defensive stand than they've had over the last half of basketball. So that's something to build on, be proud of.
Cyclones by 22 as Williams fires again. Offensive rebound comes from Polk, and she puts it in. Wofford University, a lot of mid-major teams expressed an interest, but he said the way she plays defense. Williams last year averaged 13 points a ball game at Arizona. Krooks showing some range, misfiring this time on the soft shot, but the offensive rebound taken by Polk. Cyclones hitting the boards much better in this quarter than they did in the first half. Here's Krooks spinning, firing, and scoring. That is 24 for Audi.
She's able to really corral that ball and get herself in a position to score.
Tate on the drive. And the rebound taken by Harris. Sydney Harris in double figures 11 times last year for the Cyclones, averaged almost 8 points a game. And She's going to be the designated energy bringer off the bench as the sixth player is Jada Williams. Reed trying to move against Harris. Ball knocked away. Shot clock down to 5. Shot clock at 3. And the shot misfired by Dixon. But the offensive rebound puts it back in. 63-37, final minute, third quarter. Harris open. Not this time. Krooks right there.
Good rebound for Audi Crooks.
5-second differential. Shot clock and the end of the third quarter. Tate on the drives. Cuts inside to score. Jocelyn Tate with a nice move. Her first basket. Cyclones for the final play in the third quarter. Williams, deep three. Nope.
Also some poor shooting for Southern in that second quarter. And then, of course, Audi Crooks.
By the way, Krooks in double figures for the 89th consecutive game, and this is her 19th career double-double. And she is still in as the fourth quarter begins. Krooks looking for Brown. Move to her left, goes back to her right, scores.
And that's kind of what we've been waiting for. Assist, you know, she's just really an all-around player, but good to see her get some points there.
That's just her 6th attempt. Looking for Brown. This time pass a little bit higher than the last one, which was underthrown, and it's enough for Krooks to draw a foul. Of course, unlikely she will stick around to get her career high, but I think everybody would remember that.
And that's really what put her on the map. You know, that game really...
She leaves, and maybe for the last time tonight, we see Audi Crooks. And of course, it's Southern University that's the opponent tonight. And Tate will go to the line. Underrated by some as far as Power 5 teams, but Bill Fenley liked her defense and said, I know that she can be helpful.
A real hard work ethic. I mean, you can see her diving for balls and making those plays that a lot of kids don't want to make.
Krooks looking inside. Beaty trying to find her. Beaty does find her. She pumps, she fires, and scores once again. And that would be 29. Just under 7 to go in this one as the Cyclones about to go to 2-0, the 14th ranked team in the country. The left-hander, nice move.
A nice turn in the paint there. Baby hook.
All with 9 points. That pass a little bit too wide for Harris to catch up to. Deshante Edwards requiring some help as she leaves the court.
You hate to see that, and you just hope you hope for the best. You hope for the best news for her. It's early in the season.
Again, the third player for Southern University on this 2-game road trip to Iowa that has had to leave the game with an injury.
Play a tough non-conference schedule, get back home, and then really grind it out in your conference. And Southern is well prepared to play their conference season after they've played these tough teams on the road.
Hurston back in, drives, puts it up, and hits the basket and gets fouled. Foul called on Aletha Williams, and a chance at a three-point play for an outstanding play. Hurston, we mentioned it, started her career at DePaul, played there 1 year, played at Coastal Carolina, duplicating her 14 points in Iowa City on Monday. Beaty pulls up and barely ripples the nets on her third basket of the night. Hurston on top. She will take that shot a lot, and not this time. And Brown with another rebound. So Brown goes to double figures in rebounds, and she has 8 assists, so she could have a double-double without scoring in double-doubles if she gets another couple of assists. Krooks puts it to the floor, to the basket. Not this time. Brown there for the follow and draws the foul, and Addy Brown will go to the line. 1 turnover in that game on Monday.
You know, turn the page from being an underclassman to now a leader. And they're all going to be in that leadership role this season, and they're going to be called on to do that.
Tate gives up her dribble. Reed tries to go inside. Krooks tries to get a hand on it, and Brown will get the rebound. Starters still in for Iowa State, and it's a 3-ball by Kenzie Hare. Reagan Wilson about to come back in for Iowa State. And the pull-up knocked down by Michaela Cunningham. Addy Brown, 13 rebounds. And Jada Williams changes in the Cyclone lineup as Bill Fenley's gone to his bench. Freya Jensen, the freshman from Denmark, is in. Eiley Tankey, the sophomore from Johnston, Iowa, is in. 3:15 left to play. And Iowa State comes down with all starters retired now. Lily Talalay also in there for Iowa State. So it's Talalay along with Tanky. Jensen, who's got the ball there. Williams. And the shot put down by Talalay. Talalay, who's from New Zealand, transferred from UMass, played at Iowa State last season.
Good defense there by Williams. Southern hasn't given up their full court pressure.
And good experience for the players who don't get to see a lot of playing time, at least early. Reagan Wilson in as well. Here's Williams on the shot. Alyssa Williams with her first basket. So no matter the margin, you're still learning. So the Cyclones with a 30-point margin, but again, everybody gets to play. Wilson on the miss. Take away. Here's Williams having the ball batted away from her. And it's picked up by Cunningham. Deep three. Knocked down by Jalia Reed. Different players in the game didn't really want any kind of a strategic conversation at this point. Wilson pitches for Tanky, and the birthday girl leaves it just a little bit short. Into the final minute, and two impressive victories for the 14th-ranked Cyclones to get things started this season.
Yeah, this is a good week for them. You know, get the kinks out, run up and down the floor a little bit, find some rotations, find some highlights. You know, things to work on, I'm sure, but two good wins.
And every player would tell you they are tired of playing each other. It was time to play somebody. Hall with a basket. Hall winds up in double figures with 11, all in the second half. Wilson finds Jensen, and Jensen will get two shots.
They're giving it their all, working just as hard as everybody else, and so it's great to see them on the floor, being able to contribute to tonight's win.
She knocks down a couple of free throws. Here's Wilkins with the shot clock and game clock winding down.
Good steal.
Takeaway by Talalay. And the Cyclones will not take a shot, and they will enjoy victory number 2 by a margin of 85-58 over Southern University. The Jaguars fall to 0-2 on the season. Iowa State gets a big night from Audi Crooks.